Hey there, welcome to Not Your Ordinary Girl, a podcast for professionals looking to find their voice, define their brand,
Welcome
and
to
maximize
Building
their
Your
impact.
Best Career.
Episodes are a collection of lessons from real life, interviews with people doing incredible things, tips and tools to get you on your way to realizing your infinite career possibilities.
Interviews with people doing incredible things, tips and tools to get you on your way to realizing your infinite career possibilities.
So today we're going to be talking about difficult bosses. Probably
Hey there.
something that
Welcome
most
back
of you
to
out
another
there can
episode
identify
of
with.
Building
I know
Your
I've
Best
had a few
Career.
along the way.
I hope you
Both
are
for good
doing
and
well
for bad.
in your corner of the
difficult
woods
bosses
these days.
can come in a
I know
variety
it's
of
been some
different
crazy
forms.
times now. We've got back
Right?
to school.
You can have
We've
the
got,
micromanager
I think
who's
this is
constantly
fall. I don't know. It was
watching over
36
every little
at my
thing
house
that you
this
do.
morning. So
You've
perhaps
got
we're going to skip right through fall
supervisor
and
that's
head right
never
to winter.
around.
Maybe we're just going to have a little bit of a delay. I guess we'll all
and you
see.
need direction or you need
But
approval,
I hope you're
then you
doing
can never
well and
find
staying
them. They
safe
don't
and
respond.
healthy. Today I
And then
want to
you've just
talk
got your
about
shady boss
time management.
who you don't respect.
Over the last couple of
You
weeks, I
find them
have
to
talked
be
to a variety of
dishonest
folks
or
that
immoral or
have expressed some
just
concerns
unethical.
about
That's
time
one of
management.
the
And
trickiest
I think
ones
that
to
this
deal
is
with
a really
because you don't want
important
that to
topic
land
that
on you.
particularly,
So those are just a
obviously,
couple
this
we're going to talk
year,
about today.
so many folks
I
have been
think
struggling
we'll
with.
jump right in
We've
with
had
the
so many changes to the way that we're
because
working. We've had so many
think
changes
that
to what's going
oftentimes
on
is
in
the
our
most
households
common,
with
especially
kids
with
being
new
schooling
or
from
junior
home
managers.
and
If you have
multiple people in the
someone that just
household
was
working, trying
promoted
to manage
or
and
new to
balance and make sure
leadership,
that we are
nowadays
kind of
it
figuring
seems
out
like
how everything is going to fit
a
together in
lot
this
of
new puzzle
organizations,
piece.
and we talked about
So
this a
today I
couple
wanted
of
to talk
episodes
a little
ago
bit
when we were
about some
talking about
things
being a new
that
manager.
I
There's a
think
lot
are
of
really
organizations
helpful
out there that
when we are
require
planning
employees
how
to
to
be a
manage our
manager
time.
for a period of time
Very early
as
on
part
in
of
my
their track
leadership
to move up the ladder.
development,
One of the
I had
challenges with
taken
this
a
is that not
kind of a
everybody's meant to
management
be a
class. I
manager.
think it was
Not
just kind of
everybody is meant to
a
lead
supervisory
people.
class
You
type of
can be
thing.
a
Where you go and
phenomenal employee
they basically
and
teach you the
do
basics
really
of being
great
a
work,
manager.
but
Figuring
leading
out how
people is not a skill
to
that everybody
get the
possesses,
most out of your
nor do they
teams,
want
how to manage your time, all of
and
those
that should
different
be
things.
okay.
Obviously,
But
as we grow in our
unfortunately,
career, you
that's
take a
not
variety of
the way it
different
works
courses
with a lot of
that
organizations.
build
So
upon some of the basic
we as
building
employees
blocks
sometimes
that we
get stuck with
leverage
one of
throughout
those
our career.
managers that's in that
And
position
one
where they
thing
want
that
to
I
move up the
remember
ladder,
learning in
and
that
in order to
particular
do it,
class
they
that
need
I
to
found
manage people,
very,
and
very
they don't know how to
helpful
manage their
throughout
way
my
out of
career
paper
and even
bag.
now
Right?
was
So
Stephen Covey's
one of the
4
ways they
quadrants.
compensate for that is
You've
they
probably
become
seen
the
them
ultimate
if you've
micromanager
ever
because
taken
they
a
don't want to
leadership
mess it up,
class, if
and
you've ever
they
seen
want
the
to make
book, The
sure that
7
they
Habits
are
of Highly Effective
keeping
People.
track of everything that's
There
going
are
on
tons and
and
tons of
making sure
pretty
that things are
versions of
being
these
done in
all over
the
the internet
manner in
if you
which they
Google
would
it.
like it
I will
done.
also include
And
a copy
as
of what it
a
looks like on the
employee
show
of that
notes
type
on
of
the
manager,
website
it can be
for this
super
episode. You can
frustrating
download it there,
because
as well
we
as
go
a
to
link
work,
to the
we
book.
do
I
our
think you can
job,
get it on Amazon.
we're
You can
doing our
probably read it
best,
at the bookstore,
and if
whatever,
our
maybe
boss
from the
is
library,
constantly
wherever you
checking
read your
in with
books.
us and
But
interrupting
in
our progress
general,
or
I
our
found
process or
that
however it is that
this
we
is
go to
just
do
a
our
really
job,
good tool
sending us
to
emails, where's
use,
this
kind of in
at,
the
let
back
me
of your
see it
mind.
at this
And
stage, let me see it at that
the
stage.
challenge with
It
this
really
is you can
be
take it to as detailed a
counterproductive,
level as you want
both
or feel
for the
comfortable
manager
or
and the
need,
employee,
or you
right?
can
You're
just
trying to
use
get
it
something
kind of
done on
as a
deadline and
guide.
someone keeps checking in,
Now,
wanting
I'll
to see
walk
the
through the
status,
4
adding 2 cents,
quadrants, and I
changing
really
the
want to
happy to
dig in a little
glads,
bit to some
put
of
a
the
comma
things you can
here,
do
put
in
a
those
new paragraph
quadrants
there.
to
It
organize your
really
time.
builds resentment
Again,
and
if
a
you
feeling of
are a
distrust
paper
that,
and
hey,
pencil
this
kind of
person
person,
just
and it
isn't
helps for
trusting
you
me to do my
sit
job.
down
They've
every
now
morning
become
and
my
map
boss
out all of
and
your
they want to
tasks and put them in
nitpick
the
every little
quadrants
thing
and work
that
through
I'm
there.
doing. And
That's
that's not a
great. If you
healthy
have the time to do that,
boss-employee
even
relationship.
better. I would
So
argue that if you
to
are listening to
really
this
kind of get
podcast episode
around
and you are
this,
trying to figure out how
the
you're
best
going to
thing
be
that
better
I've
at your time
found
management,
for that type of a
that might
manager,
be
especially if it's a
not
new
a great
manager,
use of your
they may
time,
not even realize
but
that they're
if it'll
doing it.
help
They're
you
trying
be more
to
productive
dazzle
and
their
purposeful in
bosses
what
as a
you're
new
doing,
manager. They're
then
trying
by all
to
means,
set a good
whatever works for
example. They're
you.
trying to
And
really
some
set
of
themselves
this
apart, and
is
they're forgetting
kind
the
of a
fact
learning
that you've been
process.
working and
If
you've
you
been
are
doing a good
struggling
job
with
all
time
along.
management, sometimes
And
it's
perhaps they
because
just don't know
we
how you
haven't
work.
found the right method for
Perhaps
us.
they need
It's very easy
to
for me to get
work
on
with you
here
for a
and
little
say to
bit
you,
and get a feel
this is
for
what
how
you
your
need to
writing
do,
skills are, or
because this is what
time
I do.
management and those
That
types
doesn't
of things,
necessarily
so that
mean
they
it's
can
going
be
to work for you. We
comfortable
have very
with the way
different
you work,
situations,
and
very
then
different
they'll ease off a bit.
careers, different
So you might
backgrounds,
cut
all
them
of
a
the
little
different things,
slack
different ways about going
for
about
as
things,
long as you
all
can.
different things
You
come
know,
into it. So
obviously you
kind
don't
of
want to
have
let
to
it
feel
go a
your way
year
through
where
and
you're pulling
find
your
what
hair
works
out and
best
just want to
for
quit your
you.
job, which you otherwise
However,
loved,
the reason I'm
until you
going through
had
this
this
tool is I think that
micromanaging
it's a really
supervisor.
nice baseline.
But you also might
kind
sit
of
down and
get your
talk to
mind
them.
thinking
Say it's been
in
a month or
certain
so,
way about how to
and it's not
prioritize your time,
changing.
how to organize
They
your
seem to
tasks,
be
all of those
pleased
types
with
of
your
things.
performance. They seem to be
I
happy
don't know
with
about you,
the
but
products that you're
these
producing.
days I am getting
And sit down with them
inundated
and say,
with
hey, you know, I
emails.
noticed
I get
that you
so many more
are
emails than I
very
ever did
involved
before. I
at
think
every step of the
it's
way.
our main mode of
And if
communication,
that's what
right?
makes you
Aside from video
comfortable,
chat
I can
and
understand
podcasts
that,
and
but at
virtual
the
and all
same
of these
time,
different
it's
things,
very
many
difficult for me
folks
to
are sending
do my
everything through
job
email now
in a
because we're not
timely
doing as
manner
much in
without
person.
stress if you
And
are
they want
often
to
checking in on me.
remain relevant
Or,
and be
and this
present
is where it
constantly
kind of
and
depends
continually,
on
day
their
after day after day.
temperament,
So
right? I mean,
where I
we
might
all
have
work
been
with
getting one or
people that
two
are
emails from some folks
hot-headed
in a week,
or
now I'm getting one every
impatient
day because
or
we're not seeing each other, we're not
very
talking to each other.
thin-skinned.
If you have
If you've got a
employees that are
thin-skinned
struggling and
manager
need a little bit
who
extra
is
help, you're getting a lot of
micromanaging
messages from
you,
them.
you're going to need to be
So,
delicate about the conversation
as I
that you
mentioned,
have
I'm getting
and turn
tons
it
right
around and
now,
say,
and
you
I
know,
think
I really
a
want to
lot of
make
us
you look
are, and
good,
that's one of the things that
and
really
I've
bogs you
been
down in a day.
working with you
And
now
even if
for
you
X
just take
number of
email
days, weeks,
as
months, and
your
I'm noticing that you
practice
want
for
to
how
be
you're going to
involved
implement your time
at every
management
step
and
of the
come up with a
way.
system for
Is
that,
there a way
that
that
could
we
be a
can
really
come
good
up
start
with
for getting you back
an
a little bit more
arrangement of
time to
how
do
I
other
can be
things.
providing you updates that are not
So the
impacting
4
my
quadrants,
workflow?
the
Because I
first
really
one
don't want
that
to set you back on time
we're
because
going to
I'm
talk
stopping what
about
I'm doing
is
to provide you
obviously the most
updates when I
important
could
one.
be keeping things on
And
track.
again, you
So
can
how can I
Google this,
help
or you can go to
you?
the
And if
page
you
for this
turn it
episode
around and make it
and
sound like
download a
you are
copy
really looking
of
out for
a
their best
screenshot of
interest,
the quadrants.
then
But imagine in
that
your
will go
head,
further than
obviously 4
saying, you're making
squares,
me
your top
crazy. You need to
left
stop checking
is
on me
your
every 5 minutes. I
urgent
know how to do my
activities.
job.
This is the list
So
of things
that's
that you have
obviously
got
not
to
going to
get
be
done.
your best
This is
approach.
your problem solving, you're
Sometimes this is
crashing on a
difficult because we
crisis,
get
you
really
are working
frustrated and then we
towards
lose our
something that
temper.
needs to be done
But
by
I
the
would
end of the day
encourage
or
you to
needs
take
to
a
be done by
minute
the end of
before
the
you send
morning.
that email
These are the things
and
that you
consider the
only
type
can
of
do and you have
temperament
to
and
take
the
care
type
of
of
them today.
personality that that manager
Okay?
has, and really kind of address
Now let me back up for one
the
more second.
conversation with them on how you can be
When I
most
say
successful.
that
And like I said,
you
they may
can
not
make
even
a
know that they're
list of
doing
all
it.
of
They may
these
not
different
even
things, and
realize
you can
it.
take a list of paper in the morning
So
and
you
write down all
might
of your urgent
talk
tasks.
to
You
them
can
about
certainly do
it
that.
that way and say, you know, I'm
One
not
thing I
sure
want
if
you to be
you are
mindful when we're
aware, but
talking about these 4
I
quadrants is
am
some of this is
driving
just
towards
a
this
matter of
deadline
retraining your
and
brain so
trying to
that
get
when
it done
something
because I
comes
want to
in,
make sure
something comes
that
up,
you have
you
your
mentally
deliverable in
drop
time
it in
for
a
wherever
box
you need to take it.
and you
But
follow through with the
it's
action
slowing
that
me
is
down
required for that
when
box
we're
without
checking in
having
at
to
all
put
of
it on
these
paper.
incremental
Some of us are
stops.
paper driven
Could we
and feel more
perhaps
comfortable making lists
meet
to do
weekly
things like that.
or meet
I do. I
quarterly or
like
meet every
making
other
lists. I
day
like
or
writing things down. I
however it
like
is that they
checking
would
things
feel
off. I feel
comfortable
more
to go
comfortable
over
and I
your
feel
product
like
for the
I'm
entire
not
day,
going
but
to
at least
miss
give you a
things.
few
I'm
hours
not
to
going to
actually
forget
do
something.
some work
I
rather
can't
than
tell you how many
emailing you
times
every
I
hour
think,
to
oh, I'll
check in
write
on
that
how
down
things are
later, and then I
going
come
because
back and I
that's really
cannot
impeding
remember
the
what it was that
progress.
I wanted to write down.
Hopefully that will
And of
go
course,
well.
you think of it at a random
And
time. I
they
could be in the middle
will
of dinner. It could be the middle
understand
of the night, right?
that
I'm
it's in their
cleaning the
best
bathroom.
interest
All of a
to
sudden
give you
something
a
comes
little
up.
bit of
It's,
rope.
oh, that was something I
There are
was
some
supposed to put on the
people that
list.
are going to
But
micromanage you until the
so for
time
me,
they're
it works
not your
better to
manager
write a
anymore,
lot of
and
these
that's
things
just their
down. I
style.
will say I don't write
And
all
that'll
of
be
them down. I
something you'll
don't write
have
all 4
to
quadrants because,
come to
as we're going
terms
to get
with if
into,
it's something you can
there
live
are
with.
different levels of
Hopefully,
priority here
as
and
they get
different
to
things
know
that you
you,
can
they
do
might
with
back
them.
off a little bit. There are lots of
So
people
back
that
to
do that
quadrant
once they
1.
build that trust, but there are
This is your
also others
urgent
out there that just
box.
never will.
These are
That's
the
just their
things that you
style.
have to
In
get
that
done.
case,
These are the
it's
things
tricky,
that
right? I
only
mean,
you
this is your boss,
can
this
do.
is your
They're
job.
not
What do you do?
delegating.
Do you want
They
to
are
get a whole
not
new job
something
because
that
your
you can
boss is
save till
driving you
tomorrow.
crazy
These
and
are
probably will
things
be
that
for
are
a while?
urgent and pressing, and you need to
I don't
take care
know.
of
I
them
mean, there's a
today.
couple of
We know
different
what these
approaches
things
there.
are.
You can
You
really
wake up
bust
knowing
your
what these
butt
things
and
are.
help them get
Especially
recognized
if
and
you're in
hopefully
a
move further
leadership
up the chain,
position,
and
you
then they'll
know what has to
micromanage
get done.
somebody
You know what
else.
is
You could
critical
look
to
to
your
align
role,
yourself
critical
with
to your
another
business,
supervisor,
critical to your
perhaps,
your,
and maybe it
your
just
team,
as an
your
unofficial
company,
mentor,
whatever it is that you're
something
working
along
on,
those
okay?
lines.
So that's
And
what
you
goes
might
in that
talk
box.
to some of your
On the
colleagues
top right
and ask
are
around
the not urgent
subtly, of
things.
course,
Okay, but they're still
you know,
important.
quietly
Imagine,
about
if you
whether or
will, across the
not this
top, you've got
manager is
urgent
doing
and
that
not
with
urgent.
everyone.
And on the left, you've
Perhaps
got
it's just a
important, and
personality
below
thing
that, not
between you and
important.
that
Right? So
supervisor.
it's kind of a,
For some reason, they may have the idea that they can't trust you and they need to micromanage
So that first
you.
box was
And
important
that
and
would be
urgent.
something
Now we're
that
on
you
the
should
right
be
for
able to
important
correct
but not urgent.
if you are
And
doing the
those are
job
things
that they
that you can
expect
plan
you to
for.
do.
You think
Perhaps
about how to
you
work them
need
into
to
your
come
calendar.
together
You put them
and get on the
your
same page
scheduling
about what
tool,
their
however you
expectations
use it.
are,
Put them
because
on your
for some
future
reason
to-do
you may not
list.
be meeting
Maybe
them.
you don't need to
And it
do
may
them
be
until this afternoon.
totally on
Maybe
accident,
next week.
something you don't
Maybe next
realize.
month. But they
And if
are
it's
things that you
something
need to be
where
tracking
you
because
just
they
work
are
differently and
important
it's a
that they
different
get done,
personality,
and you need to find
then,
time to do them.
some of
But they
that's
don't
on
have to
you
be
to
done
make sure you
first
take
thing this morning.
ownership of the fact that you are not meeting
On the
the
bottom
guidelines
left, we've
and
got
the
quadrant 3,
objectives
and
of
that
your
is your
supervisor.
not important but
You know,
urgent
we're
activities.
unfortunately,
So
as
things like emails,
employees, we
reports,
all have a
they
boss,
are
and not all of
kind of,
them are
I want to
going
say,
to
not
be of
busy
the same
work.
mind.
For you, they
And
might be busy work. These are things that you
sometimes
might
you
be
just
able
got to do
to
what the boss
delegate
says
out.
you
You
got to
might be able
do,
to task your
whether we
teams.
like it or
They are
not,
urgent and need to be
provided,
done
obviously,
quickly,
it's not
but
doing
they're
anything
not super
shady or
important
illegal.
things. They're not
And we'll
things
talk
that you
to
need to
that
be
type of
spending
manager here in a
time
bit.
stressing
Dealing
about,
with a
because you've got
micromanager
that
can be
urgent
really
and important box of
frustrating.
things you need to be working
Take a
on.
deep breath.
You need to be
Try to
applying all
consider
your
where they're coming
strategic
from.
thinking and your
Think
leadership
about their
acumen to
experience
that box.
and
So
why
the
this might
things
be
in this
happening.
quadrant can
Ask
be
around
parsed out to other
and
folks. They
find
can
out if
be
it's just between you and
mapped
them,
out
if
and
that's just
sprinkled
their
throughout your
style,
day
and
or
see if you
throughout your
can't
week
sit
to
down
make
and
sure
talk
that
to
they
them a
get
little bit
done.
and come
But
up with
they're
some
not
kind
to
of
overcome
arrangement
the
where you
things in
both
that
might be
priority
comfortable,
box.
some kind of a compromise
I
where you
like
can
this
be reporting out
box
a little
here
bit more
because I think that
frequently,
this is a
and
great
they will feel
list
comfortable
of
knowing where
tasks
things are at,
to build
and
capability
hopefully
on your staff.
over time
Build
that
capability
will
on your
develop
team.
such
These are
that they'll have
great
more and more
things to
trust
build
for you, that
leadership
they'll
development
give you a
for
little bit
your
more rope. So the
employees.
opposite to this is the boss
So
that's
figure
never
out
around.
what you can
Never had one of
offload
these
from your
where they
plate
come,
that needs
they're
to be
new to
done
your team,
urgently.
they tell you their
But if there's a
expectations,
mistake
and then suddenly they're
or
just
there's
gone.
something where you
They
need
don't
to
answer
provide a little
email,
extra
they're
leadership
never in
or
their
mentorship
office,
or coaching
you
to
have
your
no
employees,
idea what they do
it's
all
not
day or
going
where
to
they
cause
are.
a
They're
giant
always in
issue.
meetings
It's
or
just something that needs
appointments
to get
or
out the
wherever
door.
they
So
are.
these are great learning
And
tools
you've got the type
for
of job
junior
where
staff.
you need to check in with them, or
In the
you're
last
just the type
quadrant,
of
the bottom
employee
right,
who's
are
used
the
to having to check in.
non-important,
Maybe
not
you had a
urgent
micromanager
tasks.
before that you
This
got along with
is
really well, and now you've
your
got this
list of
boss that's
things
just
that
never there.
you just don't need to
And
concern
you are
yourself with.
constantly
Okay,
getting
you
stalled
need
out on
to,
what you're doing
maybe you need to
because you
put
can't
this
track
on a
this
list,
person
and it's
down.
something that it would be
That can be
nice
really
to get to at some
frustrating.
point.
You know,
But it
I've
really
had
isn't
jobs
something
where
to
you were waiting
focus on.
around
When we're in a time
for
crunch, those
feedback
other
or
three boxes
approvals
are more
on things,
important. These
and
not
there's
urgent, not
other people,
important.
perhaps
These
your
are the things
employees
for
are
Saturday
bugging
afternoon
you,
when you feel
asking
like picking up a
questions,
couple
and
hours for
it
work and
puts
just
you in a
getting a
tricky
little bit more
spot because
organized.
you don't have
Things
the
that you
power
enjoy
to
doing.
move forward
Maybe
without these
it's
approvals,
social media stuff.
and you can't
Maybe
find
it's
the
just
person
some
to give you
email
the
correspondence
approvals.
with folks that you want to
So,
keep
do
in
you
touch
go out
with.
on a limb
Just some
and
niceties.
take the
Hey, how you
initiative?
doing?
Perhaps.
How's
Do
things going?
you
Type of
go
thing.
over their
Okay?
head and say,
You
hey, I
don't
can
want to
never
be
find this
focusing your
person?
time on that
Perhaps.
kind of thing.
Both
Maybe
of
it's
those sound a little
organizing your
risky
desk.
to me
To
and
you,
could
it's
be
not
detrimental
something that
to your
needs to be
career
done
in
today. It's not
general.
detracting from what you're
You
doing.
risk
Do it on a
getting in
Saturday
trouble because
afternoon.
now you
Or
have
just
no
skip it all
overhead
together.
coverage
Neaten it
because
up
you've
as
gone
best
out
you
on a
need to
limb
and just
and
push
taken a
through it.
risk. Could pay
These
off
are the
big time.
things that you
They
don't want to
could
get
say,
too caught up in because
this
they
is
cause
great.
problems. They
The
cause
initiative that you took is
a distraction
fantastic.
from the
But
focus
again,
that you need to be
that's kind of a
focused on
50-50
with respect
chance, I
to
think,
the
right?
real
So you have to
important
kind of
things
decide
that need to get
where you
done.
are in your career, where you are in your organization, if you want
Now,
to take that chance.
as I mentioned,
Going over
these
their
4
head,
squares,
obviously
these
breaking
4
chain of
topic
command,
areas,
whether
you
you're
can
in any kind of
assign
industry, can definitely be
however
a
important
game
you
changer
want
for your career.
to how
You
you take
tick
care
off
of
your
these.
boss.
Obviously, like I
You
said, if you
upset
feel
their
comfortable
boss because
delegating,
now they have to
use
step in,
the
and it just
tasks
becomes
from Quadrant 3 to delegate
complicated
to your
and a
staff.
political nightmare
Quadrant 1 and
with
Quadrant
making sure
2
that
should
everybody
probably be
continues
yours,
to play
but
nice after that.
you can
So,
be
similar
structured
to a
about how you
micromanager,
approach them.
you might sit
Be
down with this
thoughtful about
person,
how you manage your time
assuming
and
you
where
can
you plug
get
these things
a
in.
meeting invite to get accepted and sit
Part of
down
this,
with
as I
them
said,
and
is
get
thinking
15 minutes of
about
their time to say,
how
look,
to
I
mentally manage
am
your time better.
happy to do my job.
And I want to
I'm
take this
happy
up a level
to
because we
take the
started this as
initiative to
time
do
management,
X, Y, and
and
Z
obviously this
if
sounds a
you're
lot like
busy.
task
But
management,
I
but it
am
really feeds
struggling right now
into
because
your
on
time management.
occasions
You can
A, B,
apply
and
this to
C, I
everything.
couldn't
You can
move
apply
forward
this
because I
to
couldn't track you
whether or
down.
not
And
you're
I'm not
helping
trying
your
to
kid with
manage
their
your
homework,
calendar,
whether or not
but maybe
you are
we could set up a
helping your
regular
spouse with
meeting
cooking dinner,
where I could get
food shopping,
approvals every
whether or
Thursday,
not you are figuring
or
out when you
every
need to go to the
afternoon at
office,
2
when you need
o'clock, or
to
however you
stay
need
at
them,
home,
so that you
what
have
meetings you
something
need
set on the
to
calendar, and
hold with your
hopefully they would
team,
honor
what
that.
meetings you can
You
schedule
know, if
out
you're
in the
talking to
future.
them, explaining that
The
this is
way
where
we
I'm at,
think
and
about
we
how
kind of
we
need this to
organize our
keep us moving
time,
forward,
if you are
and
always thinking
demonstrate to
about
them
in your
What is
explanation
urgent and important,
that it's also in their
and
best
making sure
interest.
that those
Now,
are
I'm
your
not suggesting you
priorities.
threaten them and say, if you
And
don't
the
do
rest,
this, you're going to get
kind
screwed
of
and you're
fill
going
in
to
the
get fired
blanks
too.
around the edge
I'm simply
of
suggesting
that
that
prioritization.
if you can illustrate
And
to them
you decide
that
what is
you
urgent
getting
and
things
important.
done in a
You
timely manner
define
and meeting your
what
deadlines
falls into that
and
category. I'm not
avoiding
saying
any
that if you
delays
have
in the
a
work that you're
business
working on is
meeting
going to reflect
that
well
you
on
have to
them
be at,
and further up
but
the
yet
chain.
your
Right, so you
someone in
want
your
to
household needs
demonstrate
help,
why it's in their best
and you
interest
have to
to
prioritize
kind of
one
be
or the
dialed
other.
in a little
You make
bit.
the call there.
Or perhaps they
You
want to give
decide
you the
what
power
is
to
urgent
take the
and
initiative.
important. There
How
might
awesome would
be
that be?
5
Right? I
things
mean,
that are
now they've
urgent
just
and
given
important.
you
And
more
when you go to
responsibility,
organize your day,
which in
take a look
theory
at all
should help
5 things
develop
or
your
25
career.
things. You
If
may
that's
have
the
30
way they
things that
go,
have to be done today. They are
CYA,
urgent and important,
CYA,
and there's
cover
no
your
getting around
ass.
it. Those have to be
Every
done.
email you
That's
get,
when you take a
you
look at
should be
that list of
keeping from
things
that
and try to
boss.
figure out
Because if it's
how you can
outside
build them
of
into
your
your day, how
regular
you can be
duties or outside of your regular roles and
strategic in
responsibilities,
how you
you want to
organize
make
them.
sure that you're covered. Should
I
somebody
like to
else
think
come
that
by
that's
and say,
kind of
why are you
the
doing this?
puzzle
That's
piece
so-and-so's
type
job.
of
You want to
activity
make
for
sure
your
that you
day.
have it
I love
documented.
jigsaw puzzles. I
And
like
the way
to
I
do
do
them in
that
a very
after you have
organized
in-person
fashion. Some would say
meetings
it's not very much
is you
fun the
send a
way that I do
follow-up
it, but I
email
like
to that person and
the
say, hey,
process that I go
really
through because
appreciate
I
you
find
taking the
it to
time to
be
talk to me
very
today.
relaxing. I
Just
do my
wanted to
edges
confirm
first, then I
the
group the
few things that we
colors,
talked
and
about.
even the sorting
Just
of the
wanted to let you
pieces
know,
and
starting
figuring out where
tomorrow, I will be
they
doing
group together
this
is
and this based
whether
on
it's
our
because of a picture
discussion in
that's
your
on
direction.
the actual
If at
pieces
any
or
time
colors,
this should
whatever
change or
I
you should
decide for
feel
that
like you want
puzzle,
to
how I'm
discuss
going
a
to group
different
things, and
arrangement,
then I
please
methodically
let me
move
know
from one
and
group
we
to the
can
next,
set
to the
another
next, to the
time to have
next.
a meeting.
That's how
Send it
my
out
brain
there.
thinks.
Hopefully
That's how
you'll
I
get some
like
kind of
to
response to them,
organize my
but
approach to that.
most emails
That's not for
nowadays
everybody. It
use
might not be for
Outlook, and
you.
you've got
But when you're
your
organizing your
confirm
tasks like
receipt.
this,
You can put the confirm receipt on
come up
something
with a
like that,
system. You
and then you
probably
make
already
sure that
have
they've
some
gotten the
idea of
email,
what works
right?
for
So then
you
if
and
their
what
boss's
doesn't,
boss
what
comes
feels
by
comfortable.
and says, why are
And
you signing
sometimes I
off on
think
these
we hear
things?
about
You
all
can say,
kinds of
look,
different
I met
ways
with my
to get
boss.
things done, and we try these
He's
fancy
really
different
swamped
ways,
right
or
now for whatever
we
reason,
try these different
and
approaches, and they
he
just don't
designated
fit
me
with
to
what
take
we
care of
really
this, said
know
that I
works.
was capable
If you
and
know
responsible
that you
enough to do
work
this, so
really
he
well
asked me to
first
take
thing in
it.
the
I
morning,
have an
your
email if
brain is
you'd like
just
to follow
on.
up on it. I'm happy to send
Get
you
up in the morning and do all of your
email
thinking
chain of
tasks
what's going
then.
on and where
You
we're
know
at.
what's urgent and
And
important
then
needs to be
that's
done.
off your
Do those
plate.
thinking tests
There
then.
might be
Then
some
maybe you have a lull in
repercussions
your
of it.
energy
You
time.
know, I don't know
That's
if
a
that
great
boss will
time
be
to
ticked off
perhaps
because the other
look at
boss
your
is being
planning for some of
lazy
the
and
not urgent things,
kind of
or
holler
maybe
at
do a
you a
few
little
of the
bit,
urgent
and you
things
may have to
that
take
perhaps
some
don't
grumpiness or
need as
frustration
much strategic
listening to
thinking.
them.
Maybe it's a little
But
bit more busy work,
ultimately,
but it has to be
you've
done, and it's very
documented
important.
that your
Maybe
boss
it's time
gave you
to do
permission
that.
to do what you're doing.
And
So
if you
technically,
can map
you
out
should
your
not get in trouble
day
for that.
to be doing things
Obviously, if it's
in a
something
manner
that
that
you
is
are not
most
legally
efficient
allowed to do,
and
you know, I'm not
productive
talking
for
about if
you
you're an
and how you
engineer
work,
signing off on designs,
you will be
or
amazed at
if
how
you're a
much you can
doctor
get
signing
done.
off on
And
whatever.
it's
I'm talking
interesting once
about
you
just
start
general stuff. If
doing it
you are capable of doing it and
a
don't
little bit
require
and a
some
little
kind
bit and a
of
little bit at a time,
certification
because
or
you'll start
training
looking
or
back
license
and
to do what it
realize
is they're
how much
asking you
more
to
you
do,
can get done
that
in a
should
day.
not be a problem. The other
I
problem with
always
that
joke
boss
because
that's never
when
around,
I
you
was
may not be able to
younger,
get
I would
them
go and
to the
visit my
table
younger
to meet
sister.
with
She
them.
has 2 kids.
You may not be
And
able to nail
I would
them
go
down to
visit
give you
them.
the permission.
And
They
when
may
they were
say, oh,
little,
no,
in nursery
I'll
school
take care
age,
of
maybe
that. I'll take care
kindergarten,
of
first
that.
grade,
Just
somewhere
send
around
it to
there,
me and I'll take care of it.
I would go
And they
to
may
her
just string
house,
you
and
along
she would have
and
20
along and
minutes
along,
to
and this
get
may be a
something done.
long-term thing.
And in my
I've
mind,
had
I would
bosses
think,
like
oh,
this,
we're
and it
just
lasts
gonna
for a long
spin
time,
our
and
wheels
it's
here,
very
play with the kids
frustrating.
for a little
And
while, and
again,
then we'll have to move to the next
CYA,
thing and fit things in later.
everything you
She
do
could
with that
manage
boss should
to
be
do
documented
grocery shopping in
and
20
send
minutes,
regular
or
emails
run
checking
3 different
in,
errands to the bank
save
and here and
copies of
there
all of
in that
that
20
so that
minutes.
when
It
things
never
are
occurred
really
to her
going
that that
sideways
20
and things have
minutes
gotten
was
behind or
not not
approvals
productive
have fallen
time.
through, or say
And I was
business
always
travel
impressed with
hasn't
that because
happened,
I
or
would think,
expenses
oh,
haven't
20
been
minutes, what can you
approved,
get done in
whatever it
20
is that
minutes
you're
by the
doing,
time we get in
you
the
have
car
a
and we get going?
documented
But
email
she
trail
found
of
those 20 minutes
everything
to be
that's gone
so
on
valuable
that
because
demonstrates
having
that
2
you
little
have been
kids running
chasing this
around,
person
full-time
down
job, all of this
for
stuff,
weeks,
she
days,
had to
months,
make those
years,
20 minutes
whatever it
count.
is.
And she was
And
super
take
efficient with her
notes.
time fitting
Get a
what
notebook,
needed to be
write the
done
dates down
in
so that
those
you
little
have
pockets
all
of
of
time
those
throughout her
examples,
day,
so that
because
if
those were
you
urgent and
should get
important
hauled
things that
in by
had to be done
HR
that day.
or your boss's
And she plugged
boss
those
or
holes
whomever
with
it
those
is
things.
that will
And it really got me thinking
come after you
differently
for
about
not getting
how
your
I
job
managed my
done.
time and
You
how
can
much
say,
time I
look,
waste because
I have
was
tried
thinking that
and tried.
20
I
minutes
tried to
isn't
set a
enough
meeting.
time, or 15
They didn't
minutes
show up.
isn't enough time.
Now, the
There's
next thing you
always
can
a
do
task on your
is
list
go above
that
their
can be
head.
done in 5 minutes,
And
in 3
if you're
minutes,
getting
in
to
20
the
minutes, in
point
2 hours.
where
There's
you've got
always
pages and
something on
pages of
there. You
documentation of
just have
things
to be a
going
little
wrong
bit
in your
creative
job, and
in
it's
how
starting to
we
really affect
organize
how you can
what it is
be
that we're doing.
efficient and effective in your
Now, I
position,
will
then you
say
need to
that
talk to somebody.
over the past
Maybe
couple
it
years,
is
I've read a
a
lot about
peer of
time
your
blocking.
boss
I've
that you can talk
played
to
with it a little bit in
confidentially.
my
Maybe
calendar.
it's someone
I
further up in their
really use
chain
it to a
that you
certain
can talk
extent
to
for a lot of the things
confidentially.
that
If
I
there's
do for my
somebody that you
business,
are friendly
because
with, that
there
you can sit
is
down and say, look,
a
I don't know if something's
mentality
going
that
on
if
with
you're
this
hopping
person.
from one
Perhaps they're
task
having
to the
family
next, to the
trouble,
next, to the next,
right?
you're less
Or
efficient.
something outside of
So
work.
that
They're
is
having health
something to be
issues that they're not
mindful, and I don't
communicating
bring
back
that up
in.
now to
There could
kind of
be a real
detract from
legitimate
everything
reason
else.
why
I
they are so
mention that
scarce.
because I do
But
want you to
it's
be
gotten to the point now where it's
mindful
really
of
affecting
plugging
your
those
job.
15 minutes
And you don't want to get
is
them in
very
trouble.
important.
You don't want to see
But
them have a
not at the
problem because
expense
they
of
are a good
everything
person
else.
or whatever.
So again,
You can
a
spin
lot
that
of this is
story
really
in a very
strategic
positive manner
thinking
of just being
and
concerned for
looking
this
at your
person.
time,
They are my boss. I need them to
kind
do
of
this.
like you
I've
are
been sending
building
them
out
emails
a
for weeks. I
strategy
haven't been able to get on their
for
calendar.
any other
Perhaps
kind
they
of
just have
project.
way too much
You
on their
need
plate.
this much time to
So
do these
follow up
tasks,
and see
this
if you
much time to
can't
do that task.
tactfully
This has to be done
and
before 9.
in a
This has to be done
supportive
before
way
2. And
try to
you're
find
really
out what's
kind of
going on
plugging and
there.
playing like the
This
puzzle
obviously
pieces,
is risky
figuring
because
out
if you
what
go over
goes
their head,
where
they're
on
going to
that
get
picture.
upset. That is a possibility. But
If you can do
if
this all in
it's
your
not
head,
the first
wonderful.
week that you haven't been able
If
to
you
get in
need to
touch
do
with
it on
them.
paper,
You know, I'm not
that's
suggesting,
fine
oh,
too.
well, we had a meeting on
Once you
Friday, they
start
blew it off, and then I didn't hear
creating
from them
your
on Monday, so you
system,
go to
the
their
one
boss
that
on
works
Tuesday.
best for
That's really
you,
not cool.
you may
I
not
mean,
have to use the pen
if
and
that's the
paper
way you
anymore.
choose to play it,
And
that's
it
the way you
might
choose to
work
play it.
best
But
to spend
I
an
would
hour
say that
Sunday night before
you
you
need to
start
look
your
at the
week.
track
This is
record,
kinda,
right? If they're
how
almost
my
always
brain
around
works.
and they're suddenly
I have
not
to
around,
map
then maybe
everything
there's
out
something going on, and stop
in
by their
advance.
office and be
I
like,
think
hey,
about it.
you're
I don't
always around,
necessarily write it
and
down as
you
much
blew
as I
me off on
used
Friday.
to,
Did we have a
but
miscommunication or something along
I
those
do need
lines?
some time
But
to
if
think
we're
about all
talking
of the
about
things
someone
that
that is
have to be done
chronically
and just
absent
kind of getting my
or
brain in order.
not good with
Typically,
email or
I do
doesn't
this
show
when I
up to
go to bed on
meetings,
Sunday
those
night.
are the type of people.
I sit
Give
and I
them a
think
little
a
bit
little
of
bit
rope,
about
and
what
then,
I've got
like
on
I
the
said,
agenda for
if
the
your
week. I
your
take a look
job
at
is
my
really
calendar,
starting
see
to
how busy it
suffer
is,
because of
where I'm
this,
going to need
then
to
that's
really
probably the time
bust my
when
butt
you
to
need
keep
to
moving
go
because
above
I've
their
got a lot
head
on one day,
and
or
talk to
this
somebody and
day
find
is
out
heavier
what's
than
really
the
going
other.
on.
However it shakes out
But
each
again,
week.
document
The
it.
beauty of
Email it,
most of our
write down the
schedules is
dates,
no 2 weeks are the
confirm
same.
what the
No
meeting
2
is
days
about in your
often are the
email
same.
invite,
I
document
like
everything.
that. I
So
like
that way, if
the
they go to
constant
HR to
change
complain that
and the
someone's out to
challenge
get
of
them, you
trying
can
to
have a
figure out
clear
how to
demonstration
be
of
most
you weren't out
effective.
to get them.
And
You
I
were
think that,
concerned
at least
because
for
it's a
me,
pattern of behavior
I feel
that
that it
is
helps
not
me
normal, or
grow
it's a
and
pattern
get
of
better
behavior
and
that's
better
really
at my time
affecting your
management,
ability to
because
do your
every
job.
day I'm
And you're
forced to come
expected
up
to
with
do
new
your job.
strategies
Do
to
you
be as
want to get to
effective
the
with
end
my
of the year
time
when
as
you're doing
possible
your
and
performance
see just how
assessment
much I can
and
get out of the
find
day?
out that you fell short of half of your
I'm
goals? You're not
totally
getting
not there yet.
bonuses,
I
you're not
still
getting
feel like at the
raises,
end of every day I
you're
had 20 more
getting put on
things I should have been
performance
able to fit in.
review, all
And
of those
every day is a
things, and
challenge to
it
try
was
and
all out
figure
of your
out
control
how I
because you
can
were dependent
get
upon this
more
person
into
that
the
didn't
day.
provide what
But
they needed to so
it's
that
a
you could do
learning
your job.
process, right?
You
We're
want
growing.
documentation
We're
of all of
constantly
that.
learning and
And you
growing.
don't want to let
We
it go
will
too
be,
far.
I would
You
argue,
don't want
to
to
the end
let
of
it
our
go too
career and then
long.
some,
You don't want to
right?
go a
So
year
take a
and
look
get to that
at
performance
what
and
you've got
have
going for the week.
your boss or
Monday
someone
morning,
further
maybe
up
that's
say,
when
well,
you
why
start
didn't you
it
talk
off.
to
You get up
somebody?
extra early,
Because
grab
at
your
that
cup of
point,
coffee,
you should
and
have
you
talked to somebody
strategize for the
about it,
week.
right?
Try and
If it's
figure it out.
seen,
You don't have
if it is
everything in these 4 quadrants.
significantly
You don't have to have
impacting your
everything mapped
ability
out.
to do
But
your
it is
job,
important to know
then
at
it's
least
your
those 2 main
responsibility to
boxes.
reach out to somebody
What
about that.
is
Because at that
urgent and
point, then it's
important that
on
you need to
you
get done?
because you're not doing
What
your
is
job. You're
important
allowing somebody
that you need to
else.
make sure
And
you
again,
have on your
politics are
schedule.
tricky there.
And I would even
so
argue
you
that
have
that's
to
not so
kind of
important,
dance
but
around
urgent,
it. It
but
is not a fun
those kind of need to
conversation
be
to
on your
have.
mind too, because when
And
you are
it will
having
be
employees come to you
stressful
looking for more
and
responsibility
probably
or
make
looking
things
for
a little
something to
uncomfortable
do,
around the office
those
for
are
a little
great
while, but in
things
the long
to
run,
be able
you
to
have
have
to
in your
look
back
out for
pocket and say, you
you.
know what,
So you
I don't have
need
time for this,
to
but it needs to
cover
be
your
done.
butt
This would be a great
and
opportunity for
reach
you
out
to
to somebody
practice
that
your
can help
writing skills,
advocate for
practice
you and
your Excel
figure
skills,
out
practice whatever
either
it is
A,
that
why this
they're
person's
trying to
not doing
build
their job, or
in
B,
their
get
own
you somebody
leadership
that will so
development.
that you can continue to
Task
grow in
them
your
with those
career.
things.
And the
Give
last
them a little
type
bit
that
of
we'll talk about
stretch
is
goals so
the
that they
shady
can
or
get better at
unethical
what it is that
boss.
they're doing.
So this one's the trickiest one. I think,
All right.
because
As I
a
mentioned,
lot
you
of
can
that
download
is
a
up to the
picture
eye of the beholder.
of this
What you
quadrant
find to
on
be
the show notes for this
shady
episode on the
and
website. You
unethical,
can find that at
other people may be a little bit
kellyfeatheringham.com/79.
less stressed about. Everybody kind of
If
has
you
their
want
sliding
it right away,
scale
you can
of
Google it.
what they're
It's
willing
Stephen
and
Covey's
unwilling
4
to do.
quadrants. Like I said, there
Me,
are
I tend to be pretty
tons
black and white.
of different versions.
If it's
The
legal,
one I
it's
put up
legal.
there
If
was
it's
just
not,
kind
it's
of
not.
a mixture of one
But
that I like with some
there's
of
a
the
difference
different
between
descriptors.
what's
And
legal
I
and
hope
what
it
is
works for you.
ethical.
I hope that you are able
And
to
there's a
think a little bit
whole
more
gray area
strategically about your
there.
time.
So if
I
you've
understand
got
that the
a
front end
boss
work
that
of
is
getting more
asking
strategic
you
about your
maybe
time
to
can be a little stressful and
steal work
overwhelming.
from some other
But I
team,
promise that
or
once you
kind
start
of
doing it and
sidestep
once you
the
start getting
rules to
better and
get
better at it
the
for what it
best
looks like to
time
you,
on the conference
it
room
really
or
does
things like
reduce
that.
some of the
It could be
stress
something
and
as
anxiety
simple
that
as
we
stealing
have
coffee
around
from
our
the
time
break
management.
room, right? I mean,
If
there's
you've
a
got tips and tricks
ton
that
of
you
ways
use to
that
manage your time
employees can
better,
be
I'd love to hear
unethical.
about them. I'd
If
love to
you
share
have a
them on the
boss that's
show.
asking
Drop
you
me a
to
line
do
at kelly
things
at
that
kellyfeatheringham.com.
you shouldn't be doing,
Have a great
first
day.
of all, determine
All
if
right.
you can
So thanks for
politely
listening
say,
to Building
I'm
Your
just
Best
not comfortable
Career.
doing that.
I hope
If
you
that's
enjoyed it.
how
Head
you
on
choose
over
to do
to
things, that's totally up
buildingyourbestcareer.com
to
and
you,
subscribe
but
so
I'm
you
not
don't miss an
comfortable doing
episode.
that, so I would like
Feel
to
free to
continue
drop me a
doing
note
it
with
this
any
way.
topics you'd
For
like to hear
instance,
about,
I used to
or if
travel
you'd like
a
to be a
lot
guest on an episode.
internationally.
And please go ahead
it
and
was always
recommend me to your
interesting to
friends.
hear how
Until next
different
time,
organizations
always remember to
and
stand up
companies
and be
handle
confident.
per diem
Stand by all that you
and
do and say
how
with
they pay their
integrity,
employees
and stand
for
out,
food
because
and
after
lodging
all,
and things like
there's
that
only
when they
one
go
you.
on travel. There are different rates for domestic